All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the section 2 of preparing you for the GDSC Leads application event series. This event is organized by GDSC Malaysia with the collaboration of different GDSC chapters. So before we begin, please be reminded that this event will be streamed at YouTube and Facebook simultaneously. Please do not be hesitate to ask your questions in the comment section. We will be answering all the questions at our best during the Q&A section. In the meantime, sit back and relax as we will start the section now. I am James Wong. You can call me James. I'm the current GDSC lead at University Technology Petronas, also known as UTP, and I will be the moderator for tonight. We are happy to see everyone here. I believe most of you are interested to become the lead for the next tenure. So for information, this is one of the events that organized by GDSC Malaysia related to GDSC Leads application. Hope everyone have watched our info section last week. If you haven't watched it, please feel free to look for the live video recording at our Facebook page and YouTube channel. All right, next slide. Next. All right, okay. Let me introduce to you the speakers we have for tonight. So for tonight, we have three GDSC leads. We have Ziyi, who will talk on GDSC community and team building. Also, we have Sean and Kelvin, who will talk on how to ace the GDSC lead application. All right, next. This is the agenda for the first part tonight. For information, we're gonna have two parts tonight. So we're gonna start with event opening, and then Sean and Kelvin will take you through the tips for application questions, the video submission, and the interviews. And before we end the first part, we will have a Q&A section to answer all the questions regarding this topic. And after the Q&A session, we'll proceed to the second part of the section by Ziyi. All right. So without further delay, I will pass the floor to Sean and Kelvin for the tips for application questions.
Yeah, thank you, James, for introducing me and Kevin. So, hi guys, once again, I'm Sean Liu. I'm the current GDS lead for USM, University Science Malaysia chapters, and together with me is Kevin, who is also the GDS lead for APU. Kevin, want to say hi to everyone? Yeah. So today, both of us will going through how to acing your GDS lead application, which I know you guys are most concerned about how to answering the question, how should you submit the videos, how should it looks like, how the interview looks. I know you have a lot of questions, but today we are going to answer you now. Okay, so before we answer, I go through the tips for all the questions. Let me go through once again about how the application flow looks like. So officially, the GDSC lead application will be started at the 1st April, which, yeah, I know it's April Fool, but it's not April Fool. So officially, it will be started on the 1st April. And then the deadline, which is the most important part, the deadline will be end on the 15th May. Okay, I repeat, the deadline will be on 15th May. So now is already 30th of April, which is like the last day. So make sure that at this time you have already go through all the questions and you have some basic idea how to answer the question. And once you pass the screening process for the first part, you will have your interview section during June and July. And the day will be depends on your availability, but it's around June and July. And officially, you'll be onboarded on August. Yeah. So after all this process, you can pass this all process. Congratulations, you'll be chosen as the next GDSD to make your own impact in your community. Okay. So what are the criteria that you should have in order to become a GDSC lead? So first of all, definitely you need to have a minimum of 1 year left until graduation. Means that when the time when you're becoming a GDSC lead, make sure that you have at least 1 year, or which means you need to be the final year student when the time you has becoming or been chosen as a lead, which is around August 2022. And you either can be undergraduate or graduate student in your college or university. You can be master student, PhD student, or even diploma student. It doesn't matter. As long as you are qualified in your college and university, you are liable to apply GDSB. And also make sure that you can commit to this program for 1 year. As you know, like as a GDSC lead, you have a lot of commitment. So make sure. So if you can't commit during the 1 year, please pass this opportunity to someone who deserve it or can give a better commitment. And also be passionate about creating impact in community. Just some tips. We are not looking for very tech nerd in GDSC. We need someone who very passionate about their community and willing to bring something new to their own community. That's all what we need. And also, although it mentioned like strong technical understanding of computer programming and software engineering is advisable or recommended, but for myself, I think that is the secondary part. Most important part is you are passionate and you have a strong understanding about your own community. Uh, and the next part is having a experience with event planning and or leading a team. Yes, as a leader, definitely you need to know the event management, like how to lead the team, how to handle with the team, how to communicate with each others. Yeah, that's very important. And also, it's good to have some connection with your own local developer community. It can refer to Google, GDG, Google Developer Group, or even just your own faculty. If you are from computer science background, maybe you have computer science society, or even the faculty of computer science. That also consider one of your local developer community. That's also it also works fine. And ideally, you can host an event once a week, once a month, or at least every 3 months you have to host an event. So in total, you need to host at least 4 events in order to graduate as a GDS lead. So this is basically how the criteria of being a GDS lead. It might sound complicated, but in short, you just need to be a university or college student and you are passionate about the technology, and then it will be good that you have experience in event planning or being a leader and also be passionate. Yeah, that's how I can sum up as criteria. So next, I will pass the floor to Calvin to talk about the tips or under of a question, answer the application questions. So Calvin, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Sean. So the application question that you will need to answer before you're submitting your application, there will be three questions. So let's get to the first question. Next slide, please. Okay, so the first question is, what is your motivation to run a Google Developer Student Club at your institution? With the hint, there is, have you been a part of any community before? And mention what inspires you to run a community and how GDSC will impact your community. Okay, so if we are to sum up this question, is basically what is your motivation of being a GDSC lead, and also mention your experience in being a community. So first is basically it's like your campaign for like being a GDSC lead. Mention why would you want to be a GDSC lead, like the impact to your community that you're planning to make, like your proposal for like your work plan, and like how will that plan will impact to be helpful for the community, with the community being like the specific to your university. Also, the second part is you can mention the organization that you have been a part of. So mention like maybe you have been a committee member in like some student organization, but also you can fill in like your internship, or maybe like you can fill in your membership role also being accepted. So you're never to answer anything blank in the questionnaire. It is very recommended to answer at least something. And of course, if you're being a part of like your GDSC community in your university, maybe as a core team or even as a member, you can definitely put that thing in. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so tips from us for question one is first, try to understand your community and your fellow college student. So ask yourself, like people around you, what is the problem that exists in your community and what is your proposal for the solution? And of course, try to relate every question with the context of GDSE and like your local university. And next, please. Okay, so question two out of three. Question two is, what is your experience in leading a team or a project? With the hint is, tell us about your experience as a team leader. What was challenging for you, and how did you solve those problems? and what is the best part of being a leader for you? So this question is basically like questioning your leadership skills. First is your to like list your leadership position. So if you have an experience being appointed as a leader in like organization, it will be very great to put it in. But if you don't have any, you can fill in any experience as a leader. You can fill in like a maybe assignment group leader or side project leader, or even like if you're leading your friends while on an activities, you can also put it in. So second is your challenges. So fill in what was the challenges you're facing while being in those position, and also what is the solution. So you can put everything in. Definitely make it very long, but not too long. And then finally is your motivation. Your motivation is similar to the first question. So, but this is like a more personalized, more personal reason of why you're wanting to become a leader. Next slide, please. Okay, so tips from us for question two is first is to state your leadership experience. So it can be a committee member or even a non like organization, and also to put in your problems while being in this position, and also the solution, and also your inspiration to become a leader. Next slide, please. Okay, so the third question, what technology do you find most interesting and why? And what is your experience in this technology? And also, you should mention other technology you have been dealing with. So the third question is a hard skills question. First, you can state what technology that you know. So this technology is, of course, can be Google technology, but also not limited to like Google technology. You can also mention like your proficiency in the technology, maybe you're a beginner, intermediate, or expert in the technology. But like personally, it's recommended to like show your proficiency through your project lah. So it is very important to mention like your project or a side project using the technology. And also it is very important to put it in because that's something that you can show to like the interviewer, because the interview will question about your side project, of course. So of course, if you have something to put in, it will be very great. But if you are less knowing about the Google technology, or maybe you're a non-IT student, you can also put something in. Don't just lie or put it blank. You can write like what technology that you're interested in, or what technology you want to learn, and why you're wanting to learn those technology. So like motivation is and passion is more than enough, rather than just to fill in blank. So like out of the three question, wait, uh, next slide please. Sorry. Okay, so tips from us for question three is state the technology that you're interested. It is not necessarily to be a Google technology, but of course it will be very recommended to put in the Google technology and show your interest in those technology. Okay, so that's all the three question. If I can recap, so the tips from us is, of course, answer each of the question. Don't be shy. Don't put in like a one or two word. Fill in a long enough answer, detailed enough answer, but definitely don't be too long that people don't want to read them. Second is, of course, you should be honest, because each of these question will be asked during the interview, and it will be very bad idea if the answer didn't match. And thirdly is, if you don't have anything to put in, still try to put in something, fill in your motivation, fill in like your passion. It's more than enough. In fact, like motivation and passion is what they are looking for, if you can say that. Okay, so that's all from the question. Next slide, please. The next part is the video submission. I'll pass the mic to Sean.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin, for your
Yeah.
wondering explanation for the three application question. It's definitely a very good insight for those applicants to know what the step to answer it. Just some like add on from me. actually you have the Google had limited your word count, which is around 2,000 characters, not 2,000 words. I repeat, your submission for each question should be around 2,000 characters, which is around I think 300 or 400 words. So don't be too lengthy, as what Kelvin mentioned. Just go straight to the point and try to be precise. Okay, so now I will talk about the video submission, which I know you guys are most worried about, like what should you take, how should you looks like, you should be a YouTuber or you like Instagrammer. Never mind, we will go straight one by one. So this is the requirement that has been given from the application form. So record a 90-second videos and show us why you are the right person to be a GDSC leader at your institution. So in the video, feel free to present yourself and mention what you think is relevant and what should we know about you. Just the important tips here is like publish your video on YouTube, copy paste the video URL to avoid mistakes. Your video has to be public or marked as unlisted. Please validate the link works and is accessible. So before I start mentioning anything, please make sure that your video link is workable. Never ever submit a wrong link or submit the unaccessible link, because this is quite important. You need to avoid all the non-necessary mistakes. So before you submit all the documentation, please make sure that the YouTube link that you paste is workable. Yes, it's very important because I'm nearly to make this mistake before I submit. I've nearly submit a wrong YouTube link. So yeah, please make sure that you never make this mistake. So to answer the question, like what has been required, feel free to present yourself and anything. So if you have no idea what you talk about, you can go like this. Give a brief summary from the question 1 to question 3. What if I answer in question 1, 2, 3? You can just like summarize it again in a very short sentence, and then you can tell it again in your video submissions. And also like give a brief introduction about yourself, maybe your background, what's your interest, what you're passionate about, where are you from. Yeah, just a really brief introduction of yourself, since like this is the first impression for you to the Google community. And the next thing is no need to put a fancy effect. We are not YouTuber, we are not Instagrammer, we are just normal student developers. So no need to put all the fancy effect. Just even you use your phone to take it, even just a selfie, I think is really more than enough. No need to put subtitle, no need to put all the fancy effect. Also, it's good enough for submission. In fact, for me, I didn't put any effect, just a simple like switching the scene, and that's all. I don't even put the BGM, I don't even put the subtitle. And that's how I'm getting. So in fact, here, animation is not a very big deal. Most important is steer your contents and show the best part of you to Google. We only have 90 seconds to know about you. So don't waste any single second in your video. Just show all the best part of you. Just be honest, like what you're passionate about, what you know about, what impact are you trying to create into your community, what you're trying to gain, or what can you contribute to GDSC Malaysia. That is the I will say tips from us in the video. And last, I also mentioned that make it short and precise, as you have only 1 minute and 30 seconds to present yourself. Like even you self-intro yourself, I think it's around 30 seconds or even more than that. And you talk about your passion, or you talk about the things more than that, what you want to be, what you're trying to produce, create in GDSC. So yes, short and sweet is a key in this video submission. And we have given two examples, which is one is my own application videos, and another is for Kelvin application video. You guys can take our videos as example and reference, but definitely don't copy paste. Plagiarism is definitely a big no. So just take it at most as a reference for you. How can you like present your sentence, your points? Yeah. So that's all I can mention for the video submission. Just don't be too afraid. For the dress code, no need to be very fancy. Maybe just a t-shirt, I think is enough. Or you want to be more formal, you can wear like a semi-formal, maybe a t-shirt. I think it just will do. It doesn't really matter as long as you are presentable, you can see your face, and yeah, that's more than enough for you to be advanced to next step. Yeah, that's all the tips I can give from the video submission. Okay, so next I will pass back to Kelvin to talk about the interview section, which is going to happen like once you pass the first screening section. So Kelvin, the floor is yours again.
Okay, so the interview section. So first is if you're invited to interview, congrats. It will be next stage of the application. So without further ado, let's next slide, please. So the overview of the interview. It is a one-to-one 30 minutes interview with a foreign interviewer. And the interview question will be based on your application answer, which is why we ask you to put in honest answer and also a detailed answer so that you can elaborate on those answer. Also, on the interview schedule, first you are in charge of your own schedule, so you will be given like an Excel sheet that you can fill in your schedule also with the time, and then they will give you through email the link for the Google Meet. So the interview will be based on Google Meet. And then the interview is actually very relaxing, so you don't have to feel like the interview is very strict. Maybe it's a like a special scenario only for me when I'm doing the interview. So basically, when I'm doing the interview, I was came in to the interview, and actually I was alone in the Google Meet for like the entire length of the interview. So like 30 minutes I was alone, and then I emailed them. I emailed them asking, so I was coming to the interview, why am I alone? And I thought maybe, okay, maybe they didn't show up, maybe some technical issues, and maybe it was over for me. But actually, the interview is not very strict, so you can be relaxed. They actually replied back to me saying that my interviewer got emergency, and then they actually said like you can fill in your availability again in the Excel sheet, and then we can give you like a schedule for the interview. Or better yet, if you're available like now, you can still going to the interview. So you should going to the interview with a mindset that it is relaxing and not very strict. Okay, so next slide, please. Tips from us for dealing with the interview is remember and revise your application's answer, because the interview will be mostly based on your application answer. You will be asked to like elaborate each of the question you put in there, and also to like talk about yourself, of course. And make sure to have a stable internet connection and audible microphone. So we will recommend you to go to a quiet place. And then, of course, you didn't want the interview to be cut short by the internet connection. You are to be respectful and smile, as with everything. Of course, be honest and ask question only at the end of the interview. So we will recommend you to not like disturb the interviewer while they are asking question, and then keep every question until the end. Oh, and of course, during the interview, you are free to share screen. So I mentioned that you should put in your side project. If you're talking about the side project, you can say to the interviewer, may I share my screen to show you my side project? It will be very helpful, very definitive proof that you are very fluent in the technology. Next slide, please. Okay, so that's it from the interview. During the application process, of course, you should have a mindset in mind what to do if you're rejected, what to do if you're accepted, of course. So it will be answered in the next section, which will be explained by Sean. So I'll pass the mic to Sean.
Yeah, thank you, Carrie, for your explanation for the interview. Yeah, the interview is actually just a bit for me. It's actually very chill and relaxing. The interview won't be like your job interview or even your any society interview. It's very chill section. So I feel like I'm more to chit chatting with the interviewer. Just for your information, your interviewer will be a foreigner. For my case, is actually someone from India. Yeah, so it won't be the local Malaysian. So this is the thing you need to keep in mind, lah, like the time zone problem. But overall, it's going to be very chill section. So I'll talk about the mindset of preparing a GDSC lead application. So once you apply as a GDSC lead, there's only two outcomes. Either you has been chosen or you've been rejected. Only two ways. There's nothing else. There's only like two results you're going to face. So I'm going to like share my own experience, like how are you going to face for both outcome. So before I start explaining, like this is a really important mindset for your whole preparation process. Number one, be honest for your application. Never ever lie in your every single application or even every single sentence. Don't bluffing. Just as honest as possible. Like if you're not really techie person, like you just only know a simple HTML, CSS, that's also more than enough. Google do not lack of the tech talents. In fact, they have a lot, bunch of them. So they're really what they're really looking for is someone who's passionate about the community builder. I would say that. So just be honest with your application. Just answer whatever you know, whatever you understand. And it should be enough to attract the interviewer or even the Google itself. And second part is also I really emphasize a lot. GDSC is not your only way for you to contribute back to your community. I know many one like from my seniors or even my junior, although they are not in the part of the GDSC, but also they contribute back to the community in their own ways. Maybe like they do a free like freelancer, or maybe they have a free workshop for the children, like maybe for the secondary school children or primary school student about the coding section. Yeah, that's also the one of the very good way to contribute back to the community. So this mindset is really important when you're having a preparation for the GDSC. Okay, so first I go to the set part first. If you have been rejected, which means you fill your application, there's always another ways for you to contribute back. Just keep this in mind. If you are rejected, it doesn't mean that you are not good enough. Okay, there's many reasons that you have been rejected. Maybe your internet connection is not good, your mood is not in good on that day. That day you sick, or there's a lot of possibility but why you cannot present well during on that day. So don't worry too much. Even you rejected those, don't keep this in mind very much. Just that remember rejection is redirection, which also one of the quote that I get from my seniors. So if you rejected means that they try to suggest you have another way for you to go. And I mentioned like just now, GDSC is not your only way to contribute back to your community. You can prepare yourself better by volunteering either in your own GDSC chapters, become a core team member, or even just a supporter to help the GDSC chapters in your own community. And or also you can contribute in another tech community. For example, your own CS society or computer science society, or even like if you are for engineering, maybe for IEEE or maybe IET, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm not from engineering background. If I spell any wrong, just describe me. So, and you have many ways to do it to prepare yourself in another tech community. You even can join AWS, Amazon Web Service, or even Google. I mean Microsoft. Yeah, don't restrict yourself to in terms of contributing back to your community. Okay, in a good, brighter way, if you have been chosen, congratulations. This is, I think, this email I took it from my screenshot. I think 8 months ago I received this. I'm really happy when I received this. It just in short, like, dear your name, congratulations. We are sure to inform you that you have been selected. This simple sentence already like make my day very happy a whole day. I cannot stop smiling at the whole day when I receive this email. So please do enjoy being a GDSC lead. It's not the ending, but it's actually the starting point for you to start all the works to experience all the sweetness or the bitterness that you have faced throughout the whole the journey as a GDSC lead. Okay, so you might face two situations. First, you may start from scratches, mean you are the founder of your GDSC chapters. Okay, let's say certain now we have 17 or 18 chapters in Malaysia, but there are more, definitely there are more universities that still haven't set up their own chapters. So these are the tips that we can give you, or maybe later on like Z will touch more about it, but just let me briefly go through about it. What should you do next? First, you definitely need to find your club advisor and also your core team member to set up your team. Your club advisor is simply referring to your lecturers or even your dean to help you to set out all the process, because you definitely need assistance from your university or even from your faculty so that everything will go smooth in terms of like financial assistance, or even just the paperwork process. And next is set a goal for your core team or set a goal for your own chapters. You may have different goals that you want to achieve as a GDSC lead. Maybe you want to create an application, or maybe you want to organize a hackathon, or you want to have like 10 workshops throughout your GDSC chapters journey. There's more and more. It doesn't matter, whatever, regardless what goal it is. Please make sure that there is a clear goal for your own chapter so that everyone can follow it and have a clear direction that what they should go next. And third part is prepare the paperwork for GDSC to set up. Yeah, I know it's quite like troublesome if you person like me don't like to do paperwork, but definitely this is something you need to prepare so that it can ease your process for any future GDSC event that you want to conduct in your own uni. And also, please do discuss with another GDSC lead, or they are just simply your friends, so that you can learn from them, especially for those who have already the assist GDSC chapters. All of us, I mean, all the GDSC lead are very kind. We are very open to any opinion, so just feel free to ask anyone. We are happy to help all of you, and even you can find our program manager, which eventually will meet her if you've been chosen. So she is also very kind person and very responsive. Anything, just feel free to ask. Just in short, don't afraid to ask any single thing, and don't afraid to ask for help. That's the key, right, to start the scratch for the chapters. And also, if the second situation is that if you had inherit from your senior, which means like you are second or third batch, like me, my case, I have my seniors. So first, goal is the step is similarly the same, which you need to find your core team members to set out your chapters. It can be your course mate, or you can interview someone from your own university, and do set up a goal for your team and your chapters so that we have clear direction what should we do next for the next 1 year. And also, like similar what I have mentioned just now, always discuss with others, your ex-lead, or even a club advisor. Why you should always like consult your ex-lead or a club advisor, because they have already experienced all the like obstacle or the mistake they have made, so they know better how to avoid all the mistake to make sure that all your journey is getting smoother. And also do interact with another GDSC lead. Like I think for our batch, we are quite actively having a collaborative event with another GDSC lead, which is definitely a very, very good phenomena that we would like to see to make our community getting bigger and bigger. So do interact with others, because GDSC is also the platform for you to broaden your network in terms of like, especially now pandemic, although it's getting like shift up already, like you can start slowly go back to like physical classes, or you go back to university, but do interact with every single one that you meet in GDSC, because it definitely is a good experience for you. And also, to sum up everything, regardless what is the result, either you've been rejected, you've been chosen, or chosen, you feel really like what we call that, you're really suffering, like you have no idea what to do, you have a problem with your core team members, you have a problem with this and that. Regardless of the result, please never ever stop contributing to your own community. Even myself, I graduated after this batch or this year, I will also continue back to my community. So these are the example that you can further on go to contribute after you graduated or you want to redirect your direction. First is GDG, which is Google Developer Groups, which is like the adult version of GDSC, or Google Developer Experts, which means the expertise in Google technology. And for information, Malaysia, I think less than 10% in whole Malaysia are GDSC expert, GDE. And also, if you are the woman, I really encourage you to join Women Tech Makers, which is a platform for women to like further contribute to the tech community, which the Google also emphasizing the equality, the gender equality. So if this is your first time heard these terms, please screenshot this page and go search for it. There are a lot of opportunity that offer to all of you, rather than by joining the GDSC. Yeah, I think that's all my experience I can share for all of you about the tips and the mindset to prepare for the GDSC application. So now we are going to answer all of the questions. So yeah, Kelvin and I are prepared to answer all the questions.
All right, let us move on to the Q&A section. So, thank you very much, Sean and Kevin, for such a great presentation to cover. I think it's every single step in the applications. It seems just like a simple applications in it. So I hope you all have take note of all the tips and tricks that shared by Sean and Kelvin. So now we will move on to Q&A section. Let me see. All right. First question from Muhammad Arif. Is it okay if we are not so good in English language, but try our best to speak English? Sean, Kelvin, anyone?
Uh, I think I take first. Later, maybe Kevin can add on. So we are not looking for a debater or we are not the public speaker. So English proficiency in this case is really, really not important. As long as we can know what you are talking, even a minor grammar mistake, actually they really don't mind lah. Even I speak in the Malaysia slang, they also like, okay, they just accept it as a culture. So don't worry about if you are not good in English proficiency. As long as you can communicate with them. In fact, I heard that some of them are not even using English in their interview. They're using their own mother tongue, like maybe French, Japanese. Yeah, so don't worry too much about that. Kevin, any add-on from you?
Oh, I think Kelvin. Hello, Kelvin. Any other from Kelvin?
Yeah, actually, your passion for learning English is, of course, you can mention that, and also if you're not confident about your English, you can also have someone to be a speaker. It will, yeah, your as a GDSC lead, you don't have to lead your own event. Actually, you can actually pass it down. Maybe you can invite a speaker, or maybe your core team can be the speaker.
True, true. Yeah, just in short, as long as you can speak some very simple English, I think, yeah, the interview should be okay lah. All right, let's move on to another questions. Another question is by Intan Akila. Can we share screen with our interviewer to showcase our past projects?
Okay, since I can, okay, Kevin, I take this question first. So, so in short, yes, you definitely can. You share your screen to show whatever you want to show. Maybe you've done a very cool project you want to show them, just feel free to do it. In fact, for my case, I do mention my past project in my application. So even I don't mention, they already asked me like, hey Sean, in your application you say you've done this project. Do you mind to show us? Yeah, so that's why I'm saying please be honest to your application question because they really will go through one by one and ask like according to that. But yes, you are feel free to do so in short.
True, true. Any comment from Kevin?
Yeah, same. Actually, it will be very recommended. Even if they don't ask, you can also ask them, "Can I share my screen?" Because it will be a huge bonus point lah.
Mm.
True.
Mhm.
As for me, I think I can add on a bit. For your information, I'm not an IT student. I'm an engineering student. So, for my past project, it's more toward the hardware project. So, I didn't share my screen because my project is not all about coding. It's more toward robotics and a bit of coding. So, what I do is I mainly describe how it works and then really describe the procedure, the whole process to do the projects. And yeah, it really depends on what the answers in the application form. Right. We move on to next question. All right. Next question is asked by Nicholas Chan. Is it compulsory or will we be asked to share screen about our past project during the interview? Hmm.
Mm. Maybe Kelvin this time will go
Uh,
first.
yeah, I'll take the question. So it's actually not compulsory, but of course sometimes like in Sean's case, they ask you to share your screen. But of course, it's your right to refuse lah. But of course, I don't think it's a great idea to refuse if they ask for it. If you really don't want to share screen, maybe you can pre-presentation, like maybe you can present yourself and then put it on YouTube, and then maybe like during the interview, you can just share screen the YouTube or even like give them the YouTube link. But if you give them the YouTube link, I don't think they will appreciate it as much as you share it yourself.
Okay, just a bit add on for me. So for my interpretation, like I think makers maybe means that if I don't have any past project where it really affect a lot, I will say no. Good to have some project, but I will say eventually it's not the prominent part to determine should they choose you as a lead or not. So don't worry too much about it. But definitely good to have lah. Maybe a simple website also will do. You not necessary to share screen. For my case, I think I just share my website link to them. I didn't share the screen. I just share that link, and then the interviewer just go through it. So yeah. So I would say share screen is not something necessary lah. But if you like volunteering to share your own project to show you're passionate, yeah, feel free to do so.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Sean and Kelvin. For this question, just now I also answered a bit lah. Like, I didn't share my screen. But instead, what I do is I describe the whole project to him, and describe a bit about the process. So it is not compulsory, but it's good to have. All right. Next question by Isaiah. How does GDSC handle rejected applicants which the schools already have the existing chapters? Will they retain the old lead? Interesting questions.
Okay, I think I can take. Just, I would say yes, there will be a possibility that they reject the existing chapters. In fact, I'm not sure I can say this or not, but last year we had one chapters to exist and last batch, but this batch they didn't have any lead, so eventually we have just like don't have the chapter exist. But in terms of retain the old lead, I think no lah, because Google refers someone new, they won't refer to the same person to like keep leading as a GDSC lead. To answer the first question, they will just directly like cancel for this batch, but next batch is still opening for you to apply.
Yeah. For this, I think the short answer is no. And then if your chapter do not have new lead, then the chapter will be, I think, will be dismissed, right? Mistake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, we go to next question. All right. Is I think it's directed to Sean. You the USM main campus
Okay,
GDSC apply to the
okay.
USM Engineering and Health campus.
This definitely is my question. So, Sun Yang, I perhaps you are not from main campus. In short, no. Three campus will be like separated three chapters. So for USM, so if let's say three campus, main campus, engineering and health campus, we have three applicants. So three of these campus will have three separated leads. So Su Yang, if you are from engineering campus or main campus, engineering campus or health campus, these two contact me personally or go to my the GDSC USM social media where I can further consult with you how the process will looks like. Because don't worry, like if you're not engineering campus, you won't stand a better chance. No, you are will apply in the position of your own main campus, and I, as a current lead, I can assist you in the process lah. So in short, there's Young just further contact me on social media, either through our GDSC USM or my personal contact, which I will share at the comment section.
All right. I hope that answers your questions. Okay. Next question from Jason. From Jackson. So he said that he's trying to search for Google technology. Can you give some examples of it? Oh. There's actually a lot though. Anyone?
This one
Someone?
actually somebody's answering it. Uh,
Mhm.
Nicholas Chan is answering Flutter, TensorFlow, Firebase, and of course many more.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, it's more than that. Like, even Google Assistant also get technology, also the Google technology, even the Android also,
Yep.
even the Google Docs, the Google Slide, the Google Sheet is also the Google technology. So Google is everywhere. Yeah, I think YouTube also same YouTube, like if you are from YouTube Live now, you are using Google technology. Yeah.
Yeah, true, true. So for Google technology, Google is not just like um what they know is more on Google search or Google workplace, right? So for this Google technology, I think I will cover it more on the section next week. So stay tuned for that. It's a lot more than you maybe know of. So all right. Um, I think that's all for the first section. So the Q&A for the first part already ended. If you have any other question, please feel free to reach out to us at GDSC Malaysia social media account. So now I would like to proceed to the second part of the event. All right. So for the second part of the event, we will have Ziyi to share you about the GDSC lead and the community, like the team building, how to manage your team, and similarly, at the end we'll have a Q&A section before we close the event. So, all right. Um, Without further delay, I would like to pass the floor to Ziyi.
All right, sure. Give me a moment. Yep, so thanks for staying till part two. And this part will going to take about 20 minutes or 30 minutes. I hope that I can still see you at the end because there is a Q&A session. And I do hope that I can receive some questions from you so that I can know your understandings about these two topics. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the GDSC community and team building. So, given this chance to speak here, why did I choose to talk about this? Because, firstly, as a GDSC lead, personally, I'm very much inspired by the realization of the role that a GDSC lead plays in relationship with the community. And I think this is some very important thing that will benefit you if you know about this. And secondly, I'll talk about the core team building because due to the fact that all GDSC lead will have to build their core team from scratch after they have been appointed by Google. Yep, so if you are relatively new to team management, you might be feeling a little bit lost to have to build your team from scratch. So don't worry about this. I'm going to share with you the backbone of the flow later. Yeah. Oh, and a short self-introduction. My name is Hoji. Just call me G, and I'm a GDSC lead for GDSC University of Malaya. Okay, so let me start talking about the GDSC lead and the community. Okay, so a Google Developer Student Club lead. If you pay attention during the first session of this series that happened last week, you should be able to know, you should be familiar with this definition. Google Developer Student Club leads are passionate leaders who are dedicated to helping their peers learn and connect through GDSC. And also, if you missed the first session, feel free to find the recording in our YouTube or Facebook. Yeah. And so from this definition, you can know that a GDSC lead is closely related to the people around him or her, right? So I want to ask you a question. Um, so what are the responsibilities of a GDSC lead? So I'm going to leave 15 seconds for you to think about this. And if you have any idea, just share in the comment section if you feel comfortable. Yep. So what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Take your time to think about it. All right. So personally, I think the responsibilities of a GDSC lead is to sustain the club. And to sustain a club, it means that you have to carry on the culture of your GDSC passed down by your chapter lead previously. And then you have to organize events and you have to make suitable modifications to make your club even better. And to achieve this, you'll have to be firstly ambitious, visionary, and you have to be very clear about where your club should march towards. And it also means that you are clear about the weaknesses that your club currently have, and you are planning to fix it when you are the next lead. And secondly, you also have to be positive. You have to have a strong faith in your beliefs, believing that the goals will be achieved, because um, only in this way you can really encourage your core team to work to their full potential. If you are not positive, like you don't believe that you can do these events, then how are your core team able to do that, right? So positive is very important, I think. And lastly, you have to be passionate. Passionate in either technologies or the community. If you do not love what you're doing, then it is impossible for you to be ambitious or positive at all. So, but this is not what I want to talk about today, because they are just the bare minimum that you should know already. What I want to talk about is the responsibilities of a GDSC lead also includes encouraging the growth and development of the people around you. So what do I mean by that? By being a GDSC lead, it doesn't mean that you are just someone at the top of hierarchy. You don't need to have a very rich technical background. And GDSC lead is definitely not a badge to collect to prove your skills. Rather, try to think of yourself as a servant for your community. From the moment that you take up this role, the benefits of the community should always come before yours. And in this context, GDSC, you should be serving your community by ensuring that they are empowered with developer technologies. So you are going to have workshops, talks that try to give them the knowledge, the tools that they can create solutions for their community. And like, for example, if you are a GDSC lead with advanced skills and out of the world knowledge or achievements, but your community is nowhere near the fields that you are venturing into, then you will only be a very good role model instead of a very good community leader. So here is just a reminder to be ready to sacrifice your time and energy to invest them in your community before your own self-development. And always ask if you have given your best or not. So we talk a lot about community, but actually, who are in the community? So if you Google search this word community, it says community is a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common, right? So if you don't know who is in your community, for sure you don't know what your community needs, then it is impossible for you to serve or help them at all. So, and for me, I see my community in three groups of people. The first one is people or students in general who are interested in tech. Secondly is my club members. And thirdly is my core team members. So why do I divide them into three groups? Because their needs and goals are different, and as a GDSC lead, I have to care for them differently. So for example, to care for the people or students in general who are interested in tech, you can have events that are tailored to their needs, and these events often they cover technologies that are currently on the trend, or some essential skills that everyone will want to learn. And for your club members, events that are held are usually something special. For example, if there are courses in your university that involves Python, but your university actually never teach the students about Python, So they have to self-learn Python. Then your GDSC could be organizing events that teach Python. So this is what I mean by tailoring your events according to their needs and really serving your community. And for the third group of people, my core team members, I'll talk more about them later in the team building session. Right, so next, now that you have a clearer understanding about the roles and responsibilities of a lead and you are ready to serve your community by having amazing events, you'll need a core team to support you in the event execution. So here are some general information about team building in terms of GDSC. Okay, so the first one is you are free to build it in whatever way you want. Google only appoints the GDSC lead and they do not interfere with the core team. So there is no definite way or structure to build a core team. However, you are encouraged to open up the recruitment to the public instead of directly appointing your friend to be department heads or whatever the position name is called. Yeah, this is to make sure that the recruitment process is fair and transparent, and this is also to respect undiscovered talents. Because if you just appoint people who you know as the leads or whatever position that is, how could you be sure that the best person for this position is your friend? Does your network covers the whole college or university? No, right? So you can't know who is the best fit until you have a publicly open recruitment. And this really helps you to ensure the quality of your core team and allows diversity. Diversity is very important, a very important element that Google's values. And you definitely don't want bias in your management as a good leader. And yeah, and this is actually the first thing that I've learned as a GDSC lead, to respect and appreciate talents. And I learned this from recruitment process when I interviewed the applicants. I mean, I know that this is having a publicly open recruitment is the right decision right after I've had the interview. And I'm glad that I arranged this, and I hope you do as well. And secondly, have interviews with everyone. It is very, very, very important to sit down and seriously talk with that person about the club, the position, their abilities to commit, the skills that they possess. Are they really able to take up the role and execute the tasks? And very importantly, does that person has a similar vision as yours? So this is because as a lead, the vision that you have for the club determines the direction that your core team will work towards. So if you have a core team with a variety of different visions, then your club will not move at all, and it might even get teared apart. So yeah, interviews is also important because you really want to ensure the quality of your core team members, and remember that as a lead you take full responsibility of everything that goes wrong in the club. So you have to be very, very careful in your decision making and negotiate as much as you can to protect your stance, but not to protect your stance, but to ensure that from the discussion the best outcome could be produced. Okay, this is a little bit out of topic, but let's come back. So yeah, and also the core team welcome both tech and non-tech students. GDSC always advocate for this. They do not care a lot about the background. What they care is your passion to contribute in the tech community. Yeah, and lastly, core team is only limited to students from the same university. Yep, so that is all about the general information. And now we'll talk about steps to build core team from scratch. So this is just a guideline that should be modified for better adaptation in different environments. Yeah, just a guideline. Okay, so the first step is to consult your previous GDSC lead. It's very important to get advice from them because they definitely know the to-dos and not to-dos after 1 year of tenure. and their sharing will ease you in setting up your vision and mission of the club. And next, you will also need to you also need to get all the account credentials from your previous lead for all the social media accounts. And secondly, you can consult GDSC lead from other universities, and of course this is optional. And I suggest this because it will give you different perspectives to look at things, because we work in different environments, we have different events, we face different issues, and therefore we are gaining different insights. So yeah, you can approach any one of us via LinkedIn or email. And if you miss our contacts, feel free to watch the recording of the first session on our YouTube or Facebook. Yep, and then the third step is to consult a faculty or a club advisor um, regarding the things to note to ensure that your club is protected by the university. But actually, there are pros and cons for making your club official. Here is an advice to consult your previous lead, but I can share a little bit with you. So advantages includes you are going to be supported by your university regarding financial venue, publicity, things like that. But the disadvantages is okay, this is a little bit hard to disclose, but yeah, I recommend you to consult your previous lead. Yeah. So, and for the next step, you want to determine the vision and mission of the club. So, for example, which fields will your event cover? For example, you want to focus more on Android development for this year, maybe, or you want to cover everything that you can. So it depends on you. And what are the goals that your club wants to achieve? And you have to determine the culture of your club. And about culture, I'll talk more about it later in the team management part. Yeah, and all these three things, fields, goals, culture, it all depends on your community again, because the environment differs and the studying environment differs. Yep. And then after determining the vision and mission of the club, only then you know who are the talents that you need to realize the vision and mission. Okay, for example, you think that it will be great for your club to have more ML events this year, then you might need to recruit more ML experienced core team members. So having missions helps you to determine your core team structure. Yep. Okay, and the core team structure also depends on the environment. For example, your club could be an independent club or be integrated with another club. So let's take GDSC Sunway as an example. Their GDSC is actually a part of a Sunway Tech Club. So it really, again, it depends on your university. Yeah. And after determining the core team structure, you can start to recruit the top management team. And qualities that you will want to seek is leadership skills and event management skills, because they are important leaders in your core team who will be leading the department or team members. So leadership skills is very important. And again, I encourage you to open the recruitment to everyone. And yep, be very careful when you are recruiting your top management team, because to ensure the quality, and you want to be able to put all your trust in them for them to lead their teams without much of your interference. And after recruiting your top management team, I suggest you to have a number of meetings with them to discuss the future of the club again and refine the vision and mission until all of you reach a consensus. Because remember that you are not the only leader in this organization. Your core team, your top management team are also leaders who will be helping you to lead others. So all of you will have to work towards the same mission, right? And all of you have to wholeheartedly agree and feel excited to reach that destinations that all of you have set. Right. So after refining the mission and vision, now the core team structure may need some changes to adapt to it. So refine them, and then after that, finally you can recruit your core team members. So the interviewer could be the team lead or co-lead themselves, because they will be the ones who work directly with your members. And qualities to seek is skills, passion, and team working ability. Right. So these are the 8 steps that I recommend for you to build a core team from scratch. And lastly, I would like to share some tips for interviews. Here is a quote from an author that I like a lot, Jordan Peterson, and he says that assume that the person you are listening to might know something you don't. So here is just a reminder for you to be humble, respectful, and ready to learn when you're having interviews. And some recommendations here are, please take notes, because it will be a reference for yourself afterward, and they could be reference for your core team members also. And clearly define qualities that you are seeking before you have the interview, and then prepare your interview questions according to the qualities that you seek, so that when the applicants or interviewees answer the questions, the answer reflects if the person possesses the skill or the quality or not. So the qualities and the questions are paired together. Like, you don't ask questions just to ask questions. You try to make the time spent during the interview meaningful and effective. And thirdly, set a standard to measure the interviewee's performance. So for example, I seek for qualities, leadership skills. Okay, then, and I'll let the full mark of this quality to be 10. Then when I assess the interviewee, I'm going to give him or her a mark, for example, 8. So at the end, I can easily compare all of their results more clearly, instead of reading a bunch of words. Yeah, making things measurable is a very good way to measure. Yeah. Yeah, and then lastly, you can provide some case studies to help you to understand their abilities to solve problems that might occur. Yeah, so this is about interviews. And lastly, I will talk about managing your team. So you have a core team, and how do you want to manage them? But team management is actually a very broad field to cover, and what I'm going to share is just a very brief idea about that. So first of all, remember that a lead is there to serve a community, and core team members are also a part of the community who you should be taking care of as a lead. So you should do your best to provide opportunities and platforms to promote your core team members' growth and development. They are not there to work for you. You are here to work for them. Yeah. But yeah. And how do you do this? First of all, you have to know the strengths and weaknesses of your team members, and make sure that they are at the right position, so that their strengths could be put into use and that they can shine. And for weaknesses, you want to let them have the opportunity to practice, to becoming better at something, if they are dedicated to improve themselves. And you also want to know why did they join the core team, because I believe everyone is involved in this kind of events or organization because we want to develop ourselves. You want to develop yourself as a GDSC lead. The same goes to your core team members. They are here to learn. So try to know why did they join, and try to help them realize their goals. For example, if you know someone joined because they want to be connected to more people, then try to let them be in charge of tasks that requires liaising with outsiders, so that they can actually talk with people, and then practice their socializing skills. And thirdly, know the working styles of your members and respect their boundaries. Some people have a very strict work-life balance. Some prefer to work at night, some in the morning. So you have to keep this in mind when you're arranging your timeline and distributing your tasks. And lastly, support. Encourage them to propose ideas for activities that they want to organize. For example, when someone in your core team is a machine learning enthusiast and is able to deliver the knowledge and is interested in organizing workshops, so then why not let that person with together with his or her team organize this ML workshop? Yeah, support the ideas and planning. And remember that GDS is a peer-to-peer learning space, so it's definitely okay to do this. And also pay attention to their performance and give constructive feedbacks after every event. Have post-mortem sessions and give encouragement and compliments for things that they have done right. This is very important to keep them motivated and acknowledged and recognized. And lastly, when things go wrong, you can approach them to understand how you can help them instead of questioning them. Yeah, this is also very important. And besides understanding your team, I'd like to talk about the culture that I mentioned just now. So it is like what are the values that you prioritize in your core team and how could you integrate it into your core team? If you are not sure about this, you can try to think about your previous experience in various committee groups. What is wrong that you could make it right this time as a GDSC lead who determines the culture of the core team, right? And some examples are open and respectful. Maybe you have been in a committee group that is not open and not respectful. Then you want to integrate this in your core team this time. And here is an example by Google. It is called Google Event Community Guidelines and Anti-Harassment Policy. I'll share with you. I'll share with you the link in the comment section. Give me a moment. Right. So this thing is done to prevent discrimination, bias, and all the bad things that you can think of in the community. And you can take this as reference when you are doing code of conduct to integrate the culture into your core team, right? And then some other examples are you maybe you prioritize transparency a lot and you want to be very fair, and or maybe you want the core team to be lively and closely knitted. So these are just values. Bear in mind that having these values are not enough. You have to think of ways how you can integrate these values into the daily operations in your Google Developer Student Club. And lastly, there is just too much to learn for effective team management. And what I'm sharing again is definitely very brief. And especially for this topic, culture, I'll recommend you to read this book, Working Backwards: Inside Stories and Secrets from Inside Amazon. It talks about team management and also the culture that Amazon develop and how Amazon grow. It's a very insightful book that leaders should read. And some more, it is about the tech industry. So it's just a great book. So that is all I want to share about community, core team building, culture, team management. So we'll go into the Q&A session right now. And if you have any question regarding this, you can just throw the question into the comment section. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Zi, for such a wonderful presentation. Like even for me, I think I gained something from your talk as a leader, not only as GDSC lead, but as a leader in other events or other organization. All right, so right now we open for Q&A section for part two. So if you have any questions, just feel free to type in the comment section. We'll try our best to answer it. All right. Now, there are no questions yet, but maybe we can talk about because your talk is more on the team management, right? Is I can say it's more on the soft skill side. Um, Maybe you can share a bit like what is the biggest lesson that you learn as a GDSC lead? Bigger lesson on how to manage your team lah. Anything?
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Biggest lesson that I've learned um, managing the team, I think it will be, as I say, the first lesson that I learned as a GDSC lead, which is to respect talents, because by having interviews, I'm very like really shocked to meet so many talented people who applied to be a part of a core team, and that is when, because their talents inspired me to appreciate and respect them so much, so that I start to work towards securing benefits of them, because I really want to give something back to them to appreciate their contributions to the club. So they actually inspired me to pay more attention to the community and the people around me. So I will not be able to speak about community today without them. So actually, to be honest, my core team members have inspired me in many, many ways that they do not think of. Yeah.
All right, true. I think as for me, my core team members is only six, but yeah, they help me a lot. I think the biggest lesson as for me lah is to because we have 1 year of the program, 1 year of the tenure, and then the biggest lesson I learned is maybe um, not to push your team too hard, because 1 year, if you have a very ambitious goals that they want to one month, maybe you target 5 events, that is gonna happen maybe at the first 3 months you have the motivation, you have all the excitement to do event, maybe 1 month 5 event, that is okay for the team, but throughout the tenure, like 1 year, you cannot push your team too hard to do event. Sometimes we have other matter, like we are still students, our focus is still on our academic lah, and also other events. So yeah, I would say like um, you should give some like you are not a detector. You are not there to ask somebody to do something and then to push. You are not the boss, but you're the leader. So it's very different things. Okay. Right. Okay. We have one question from Sean. Okay, may I know how do you face the situation that your core team members are better than GDSC lead, like more techy, is more experienced than you have? Oh, even he or she is your senior. Very interesting questions.
Yeah. To be honest, okay. Strictly speaking, I think everyone have their strengths, and yeah, people can always be better than certain people at certain aspects. But in terms of being more, having a better technical background, having more experience, is definitely fine, because as what previously all of us have shared just now, GDS Lead, you doesn't need to have a very strong technical background, so it's definitely okay. And you actually need people who have a very strong technical background in your team to support you, just because you don't have these skills, right? So it is good to have this kind of people. So they kind of like can be someone who provides ideas or suggestions for having technical events. So whenever you want to have, for example, you want to have a ML workshop, then you can ask for opinions from that core team member, and he or she can share with you the possibility of having this event. And maybe they can lead or help to prepare the content curriculum So having this kind of core team member is very important, and this is also why we do all the recruitment process interviews. We want to secure as many talents as possible in the core team so that everyone is able to perform on their strengths, and when everybody is utilizing their strengths in different areas, your club is going to move in a very very fast speed. Yeah, and I think this is also why GDSC is able to do so many events, because all of my core team members are just so talented and capable people. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of agree with what Ziyi said here. So, if you have a team member that is more experienced than you, that is more technical than you, I think that is totally a good thing, because that is what like team serve for, right? You're gonna put right people on right position. So it means that you're gonna have to find people that are more experienced than you, or people that can help you in some way. Lah. Yeah, that is the purpose of um, you build a core team, and then you find people, build a community. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. All right. Okay. Any other questions? I think for this team kind of like sharing, it is a very like personal experience. I think what Ziyi covered just now is a very good cover like, around like how you can build your teams, as a step in your finding the right people for your team. And then I think eventually, right, you have to go through the whole process, and then um, what it would be like to build a team, because um, every university have very different environment, not only from the system, but like my university UTP, we are mostly engineering students, including me. So when I become the GDSC lead, and then I find people for this club, and then I find my teams, it is mostly the people from IT, which is a different faculty than me. Yeah, different faculty lah. So apart from, I have more people that are more technical than me, and then I also can know a lot of people, and then we learn from each other lah. I think that is the point of having a team. Yeah, but eventually the title of lead is you lah. So don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Seems like we don't have question here by now. I think we can ask Sean and Kelvin. Maybe they want to share something about their experience. Oh wait. We have one question from Nicholas Chan. Will Google Mentorship assist GDSC lead a lot of intern, providing us with the knowledge that can be applied during any of our planned programs? Well.
Um, yeah. So when you want to organize events, there are actually a series of events that you can have, that the materials are already provided to you by Google. Like they prepare you the slides and they train you how you are going to execute these trainings for your students. And also they cover hard skills and soft skills. So for soft skills, there are a bunch of videos that you can go through that teach you how you can build your community, how to be a good lead, etc. And for hard skills, just a bunch of a lot of resources on a lot of different technologies, that you can all of the technologies that you can think of. So you can, if you are free, you can just go through the resources and learn by yourself. And yeah, so you can, the resources for self-development are provided, and the resources for organizing events are also provided. If you want to have events that the contents is built by your own core team, it is also possible. So you'll have to spend more time in preparing the content. That is another way of having events, but usually GDSC leads organize events using the materials that Google provided us with. Yeah.
True. I think basically Google prepare you everything that you're gonna need for your community. Everything from soft skill and then to hard skills to technical skill. Yeah. Um last thing. Alright, this is I think it's a thank you note from Isaiah. Thank you, Isaiah. It's very sweet from you. I have a friend from Philippines here. All right. And add-on question from Nicholas. Whether core team members are equipped with mentorship as well?
Strictly speaking, no. You can share the resources to your core team. Recently I've attended kind of like a global networking event that involves all GDSC leads around the globe, and there are a few sharings done by the GDSC lead. And one of the GDSC leads shared that during the onboarding session for his core team members, he actually prepared a bunch of resources that he received from Google to his core team members. So he is like training his core team members, equipping them with technical skills or soft skills. Yep. So this is actually whether you want to do this or not, but core team members are actually not really protected by Google, I would say. Yeah. Because Google do not interfere too much about your core team. They just appoint GDSC lead.
Yeah, sure. I gotta agree with that. In GDSC, you have a lot of freedom actually, like how you want your community to be, how you want your teams to be. They just provide you some um, very essential guideline lah, and then you can build your whole teams, whole community from the guideline. Okay, I think that will be the last question. Let us proceed. So, very thank you to all that participate in this event and this Q&A section. All right, so this marks the end of preparing you for the GDSC Leads application. So this is the section 2 by GDSC Malaysia. I would like to thank the organizers involved, our wonderful speakers today. We have Ziyi, Sean, and Kelvin for time and commitment to make this section a successful event. Also, we would like to thank all the participants here tonight for your time. Hope you all have gained some knowledge about the Leads application, and then some tips and tricks from Sean and Kelvin, and then some, also some advice from Ziyi. So hope you all have take the note down. If you have any question after this, do reach out to us at our social media platform. We are more than happy to assist you at our best. Again, I would like to remind that we will have another section next week. The topic will be about technical skills. We will talk about career preparation, network opportunity, as well as the soft skills that GDSC lead need to have. So next week, also at Saturday, we will have another section, and then it will be the last section for this event series lah. So do follow us GDSC Malaysia on Facebook and Instagram to keep updated about the upcoming events. Till our next event, thank you all and have a good weekend. And then I would like to say Selamat Hari Raya and then Happy Holiday to all. Thank you all.
Thank you. Happy holiday.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, everyone.